questions with Ms. Byrne. This, again, is a question for all the candidates. This is a two-parter on immigration. Do you believe in denying essential social and medical services to undocumented aliens? And what do you perceive as the critical factors which should drive an eventual quote-unquote solution to the immigration issue?
Well, right now, the federal government prohibits things like Social Security payments and those kinds of things, welfare, to go to immigrants of undocumented status. But there's things that are afoot that even puzzle me more. Is, for example, denying health care to undocumented workers and illegal immigrants. With the advent of so much in terms of tuberculosis spread, MARS, is that the infection spreading? All of those things are now in our society. And why you wouldn't want anyone, regardless of their legal status, to go to the hospital and get treated, I don't understand. They are a danger without treatment to all of us. So why you would deny them services, I don't understand. I don't understand why any child who grew up in Northern Virginia, went to Northern Virginia high schools, had passed their tests, cannot apply to a state institution as a state resident, regardless of their parents' status. I don't believe in punishing children for the sins of their parents. I think parents have their own things to answer for, but I don't believe children who've gone through our school system should be punished because they were students here, they went to our high schools, and then all of a sudden they're not eligible to go to our state schools at an in-state tuition cost. I don't think that's right. And I voted that way. I voted that way. So the social service question is an interesting one because there are already federal laws that say we can't give them a lot of services if they're undocumented people. But it also has a state component, and the state is continuing to layer on more and more issues on this, like health care and education. Health care and education, to me, are things that everybody should have. Everybody. For our own good. For our own good, that they have the education go as far and fast as they can, and that they have the health care to make sure that we are all protected at the same time.
I was proud of the fact that last year, in the midst of a re-election campaign, I stood up to the voices of Democrats on this issue. You know, in our region, we have people who are here illegally. We also have people who are here illegally. The country has 12 million illegal immigrants. And the burden can't be put on local government to somehow solve that problem. That problem represents the abject failure of the federal government to do its job. Which is why this election, who we elect to Congress, who we elect the president, is really critical in trying to make sure the federal government works again and addresses problems that are its responsibility. The Supreme Court has ruled that we cannot deny education to anyone irrespective of status. And as Leslie just indicated, you know, I help run a local government, and we have a health department. And we've done a lot of planning for things like pandemic flu. We have a lot of capability of monitoring things like tuberculosis or other communicable diseases. It is absolutely self-defeating to deny health care or medical services to people who may be in some of those categories who can affect the rest of the population as well. Disease doesn't respect status. And so we can't be stupid about that. As a community, we want to make sure that we're treating anything that can affect the broader population. But the larger question about how did 12 million people get here illegally is a federal question. And it must be addressed at the federal level. And quite frankly, immigration in this country is broken. The legal structure is broken. The borders are not secure. Any aspect of the immigration program isn't working very well because the federal government has stopped enforcement, frankly. has done it episodically, has inadequate windows of opportunity for legal immigration. We have to frankly remake the immigration system so it's workable and enforceable and discourages people from coming here illegally.
I think those comments, those are excellent comments. I'd like to publicly thank you for your strong stance. That Prince William County took one position, and I just wanted to publicly commend you for your strong stance in immigration in Fairfax County. It's a very proud moment.
Thank you, Doug.
Absolutely. Jerry's right. Border security is number one. It is a federal obligation. We need to ensure that our borders are secure. Not only for the immigration issue, and as we know, there are two issues. There's legal immigration and there's illegal immigration. But the borders need to be secure, and that's the job of the federal government. You know, just last week I was actually at a lunch encounter with a very senior person from the Border Enforcement Agency. And he talked about, I said, what candidly would you need? I'm running for U.S. Congress. What do you need? He said, we need to continue funding, but we don't need all this help at one instant. They are getting a lot of help and a lot of attention. He said, we're spending a majority of our time just trying to train agents, and we're taking our people off the line to do it. So they have a huge challenge federally. And I'm excited about the opportunity to bring my knowledge as a military officer into this foray. So what do we have to do? We have to strengthen the borders. We have to fix the legal immigration and the illegal immigration. Now, I don't want to go down like Prince William County and go down and start doing racial profiling and rounding people up. That's the wrong direction we need to go as a nation. I believe in the rule of law, and it's just, it makes my skin crawl when I think about what's happening down in Prince William County. What we need to do is make sure that the children of illegal immigrants are not penalized. We need to ensure that they're able to go to public education. Things like S-chip are taken care of, that there's health care options for people. And eventually we need to realize that some of these people are going to go home and some are going to stay. And the ones that are going to stay, they got to get to the back of the line, okay? Because we have to fix legal immigration. We need people to come here for technology, for trade, for business. They're not able to come in, and so people are using this as a backdoor method. When we secure the borders, we'll limit the flow of undocumented workers, but we'll also help keep the terrorists and the bad people out. And I'm excited to take my military leadership background and my education and my knowledge on the issue of Congress. Thank you.
Well, this is actually one of my favorite issues because I work in healthcare. And since Prince William has cut back and guess where all the people are coming? I live in the poorest neighborhood out of any of these people. Do you know how many houses we have where we have 9 different families living in the houses? Okay? And saying that we don't give them services, I treated a lady from, I'm not going to mention the country, gee, she has Medicaid, and she's getting food stamps, and she's getting all this other government stuff. How long has she been in this country? Less than a year. I know why she needs to tell me this, and I can't report it because I'm a healthcare professional because of HIPAA. She went to Fairfax County. And then there's some people that works at some of these county places that they get fake documents. But, you know, some of them know each other, so they kind of let a few slide. And I got this from Richmond. I got so upset because I've been seeing so many illegal immigrants getting Medicare paid for by our tax dollars, food stamps, all of these services, they're getting it. They are getting it, and I'm seeing it, okay? So I called Richmond and said, what's going on? And she said, you know what? Fairfax County. They're not making their people check their documentation. So I went to Government Center on Richmond Highway. I walked in, okay? And I didn't, you know, it was interesting. I went upstairs and spoke with the people. And then I asked one lady, you know, hey, you know, have you been having this problem? She goes, oh yeah, people bring in their paycheck. They have a different social security number than their ID. And all of this fake stuff. But you know what? Fairfax County doesn't let us call the police. They don't let us do anything about it. So they're given all of these false documents. They're lying to our teeth. But Fairfax County lets it slide. Well, you know what? When Prince William County cut back, guess what happened? Half the people, and they will only arrest somebody, not by racial profile. This is where I get angry, because what we're doing is we're calling Prince William Democrats a racist. They are not. People in Prince William County, I know some of them. They're poor, hardworking people. And yes, they've been Americans. Maybe they've been in this country for 20, 30 years. But do we have a right calling them racist? Because they're waiting in the emergency room with people, they don't have health care, they need food stamps and they're struggling, but they're waiting in line with people who have been here less than 6 months who are getting services. Well, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. And maybe I sound like I'm a Republican. Well, you know what? There you go. I'm not that Democrat, left-wing liberal. I grew up very poor, and you know who gets all the people? Nobody's coming to Clifton, I'm sure, because you have 5 big homes, 5-acre lots. They can't afford it. But you know what I'm telling